Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rebooted MCU. And today we are here with Phase 3, Part 7, the finale of the Infinity Saga. It's been a long time getting here. I want to thank you all at the start for keeping up with this series. But without any further ado, let's get into the final project of Rebooted MCU, Phase 3. The 13th and final project of Rebooted MCU Phase 3 is Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. The movie opens up as we see Matt Murdock, played by Charlie Cox, blip back into existence as he begins freaking out. We watch the chaos in downtown New York as many people begin blipping back into existence. Cars begin crashing into one another, and people are screaming in the background. Foggy, says Matt as he begins to calm down. He rapidly begins running towards the location of Nelson and Murdoch Law. Inside the firm, we see Foggy Nelson, played by Eldon Hansen, watching the TV as we see Karen Page, played by Deborah Ann Wool, blip back into existence, and Foggy screams, "Karen!" As Karen looks around confused, Foggy embraces her. Matt slams open the door as both Karen and Foggy scream, "Matt!" As they hug him, we hear a familiar voice on the television. James Wesley says, "This is an unprecedented event. The mayor will now make a comment about his plan of action. Now, it is my honor to welcome up to speak with you all, Mayor Wilson Fisk." As Matt drops his white cane to the ground, the title card flashes on screen. We cut to later that night with Matt back in his apartment. He is listening to his television as it reports the events of Endgame, specifically that Iron Man, aka Tony Stark, has died. We see Matt holding the telephone up to his ear as we hear, "You have reached the voicemail of Peter Parker. Please leave me a message." As Matt slams his phone down, we see that he has attempted to call Peter 10 times and has not reached him once. Matt begins talking to himself. "What happened when I was gone? What happened? This makes no sense." All of a sudden, we hear that Matt's enhanced hearing has picked up a police radio which says, "We have the deranged lunatic shooting downtown again, Blake." Matt goes over to his dresser. When he opens it up, we see the yellow and red Daredevil suit, and he suits up and jumps out of the window. We cut to somewhere in Hell's Kitchen near the docks, where we see a man dressed in a red ninja costume being shot at by an unknown man. The camera catches a man dressed in all black with a faded white skull across his chest. It is revealed to be none other than Frank Castle, otherwise known as the Punisher, played by John Bernthal. He screams at the man, "You aren't gonna get away this time!" As we see him fire high-caliber ammunition at the man throws a dagger at Punisher, who dodges and screams, "Is that all you got, huh?" Suddenly, we hear the man in the ninja costume get punched and knocked out from behind the storage containers at the dock. Suddenly, we see Daredevil jump up onto the storage container and says, "Who are you? And what are you doing in my city?" Punisher laughs, "The devil! You lived! Wow, WF ain't gonna be happy about this one, but I respect you, so this once, I'm gonna let you live." Daredevil jumps down and grabs Punisher by his collar. "I'm not gonna ask again. Who are you? Who do you work for?" Punisher laughs. "Well, idiot, I gave you the chance, but now you die." As we see Punisher push off Daredevil, he and Daredevil begin to fight. Daredevil puts up a decent fight against Punisher, but it is not enough, as it is clear that Matt is rusty from being snapped. Punisher knocks him over, grabs the dagger thrown by the man earlier, and lodges it in Daredevil's shoulder as Daredevil screams in agony. He begins to pass out as we hear two voices in the distance yelling at Punisher. As we hear fighting in the background, Daredevil slowly passes out. As we watch Daredevil slowly waking up, he has been unmasked and he hears unfamiliar voices. "Oh my gosh, Luke, he's waking up," says a female voice in the room. "I can see that, Jess. Don't startle him." "Where am I?" asks Matt in an angry voice. "And why'd you take my mask off?" "Just calm down. We aren't here to hurt you." Matt jumps up from the couch he's lying on and heads for the door. All of a sudden, we see a tall man stand in front of the door, blocking Matt from leaving. As Matt punches the man, we hear Matt's fist crack as he screams in agony, "What the hell was that?" "Impenetrable skin. Sorry, it's kind of my thing." As camera pans up, the man is revealed to be Luke Cage, played by Mike Coulter. We see the woman walk up behind Matt. My name is Jessica Jones," played by Kirsten Ritter. "And this is my partner, Luke Cage. Please sit down. We'll explain everything." Jones and Cage explain that when the snap happened and Hell's Kitchen lost its protector, vigilantes started springing up around Hell's Kitchen in New York at large. That because of the increased violence caused by the vigilantes, Wilson Fisk was able to run for mayor on a campaign of public safety, which ultimately got him the election. So, these vigilantes, says Matt, are they protecting the people of Hell's Kitchen, upholding the law, or breaking them for fun? Cage responds, half and half. You have people like Frank Castle who believe that killing those who do evil is the just thing to do. You unfortunately ran him tonight. But, interrupts Jones, for the people like Luke and myself who were, well, inspired by you, the city needed protecting and nobody was stepping up to stop the chaos, so we did. Luke is even called the hero of Harlem. Matt is unfazed. So, this Frank Castle, who is that guy he was fighting? Well, not who, but what, responds Luke. Recently, a group calling themselves the Hand have started making an appearance around Hell's Kitchen. They're highly skilled ninjas who do various things, but predominantly they kill. Why is Castle feuding with them? I don't understand, asks Matt. That's what we're trying to figure out, says Jessica. We could use your help. We just figured out recently that the headquarters of Hand is located near the Hell's Kitchen's docks. So maybe if you come with us. Matt stands up. Luke, Jessica, it was a pleasure talking with you both, and I sincerely thank you for protecting Hell's Kitchen while I was gone, but I work alone. I'll ask that both of you please do not reveal my identity. I appreciate your help with my shoulder and your commitment to my privacy. As we see Matt open up the window and jump out, we watch as Luke and Jessica sit in silence, stunned. We cut to the mayor's office where we see Frank Castle storm through the doors as James Wesley, played by Toby Leonard Moore, chases in after him. Mayor Fisk, I tried to tell Mr. Castle you were busy, but he rushed past me. Yeah, hush up, bellhop, says Castle. Fisk, where's my money? We see Mayor Wilson Fisk, played by Vincent D'Onofrio, sitting behind a desk and says, Mr. Castle, this is an unexpected surprise. How are the streets? I assume they are safer under the protective watch of the Punisher. Cut the crap, says Castle. Where's my money? As promised it yesterday. Fisk stands up, and we notice a man sitting across the table from him, facing away from the camera. You're in luck, Mr. Castle. I was in the middle of meeting with my finance commissioner when you walked in. This is Commissioner Leland Owsley, played by Bob Gunton. He has your payment with him. Watch as Owsley gets up and hands Castle a check. Thanks for keeping New York safe, Mr. Castle. Castle grunts. Yeah, about time. By the way, the devil's back. Fisk stops smiling and walks from around the desk towards Castle. Mr. Castle, my ears didn't fail me, did they? The devil of Hell's Kitchen is back? Yeah, that's what I said. I fought him tonight. Fisk begins growing angry as he grabs Castle on the shoulders. Mr. Castle, listen to me. Whatever you do, you have to eliminate the devil of Hell's Kitchen. If you bring me his head, I will pay you double, triple your current rate. Castle scoffs. Yeah, right. I only kill people who deserve it. Besides, this dude is more skilled than any of those ninjas I'm fighting right now. Fisk begins to grow enraged as he places hands on Castle's shoulders again. Frank, listen to me and listen well. I want you to take out the devil of Hell's Kitchen. After your child and beautiful wife were gunned down and killed like animals, who is the person who brought you in, allowed you to unleash your rage free of consequences? I'm asking you for this not as your boss, but as someone who cares about you. Kill the devil and bring him to me. Castle stands in silence. He pushes Fisk off of him and walks out the office. Fisk returns to his seat and says, Castle can't keep this up. The people are going to get restless with my restrictions now that everyone has returned. And that is going to hurt our operation. Well, replies Wesley, you could always discuss this issue with our other client. He just arrived. Fisk smiles. Yes. Thank you, Wesley. Send him in. We cut to Matt the next day, sitting in his office. We once again hear Peter Parker's voicemail play as Matt closes his phone. Foggy knocks on the door and says, How does it feel being back, Matt? Foggy, honestly, it feels a bit odd. It feels like I was only gone for a few seconds, but I've lost so much time. Foggy pats Matt on the shoulder. Well, hey man, let's just be glad you're back now. Come with me, we got a meeting with someone who can give us some case information. We watch Matt, Foggy, and Karen walk into a conference room. When Matt walks in, he pauses as Foggy says, Matt, this is Jessica Jones. She's been working as a private investigator for us since everyone disappeared. Mr. Murdoch, Jessica Jones, Alias Investigations, nice to meet you. Matt clenches his jaw and says, Miss Jones, I look forward to working with you. However, I just remembered I have a very important client meeting I have to attend. Foggy? Karen? Please excuse me. As Matt walks away, Foggy stands stunned. Cut to a garage somewhere in Hell's Kitchen. Inside is a man working on what appears to be some sort of FBI gear. Suddenly we see Daredevil in his original all-black costume jump down. The man jumps as Daredevil says, Melvin, I appreciate you taking my last-minute call last night and agreeing to work on this for me. We see that the man in the garage is Melvin Potter, played by Matt Gerald, who says, You scared me, Mr. Daredevil, sir, but hey, I'm happy to do it. I'm forever indebted to you for saving Betsy from those robbers all those years ago. Come, let's go inside my office. We watch as Daredevil follows Melvin inside and we see something hidden underneath the tarp. Melvin continues. I took what you said about the yellow and red design. Listen, I'm good with providing the protection, not as good with the colors. Daredevil chuckles. Well, not like I have much room to judge your color choice. Just relaying what I've been told. Well, I took what you said and made the suit all red. As Melvin removes the tarp, the red Daredevil suit is underneath, and Matt begins touching it and says, Melvin, this is perfect. Thank you so much. Melvin wraps up the suit for Daredevil and says, Happy to have you back, Daredevil. This city has been crazy lately, with the curfew and all the crime going on. Well, what are you gonna do? Well, Melvin, responds Daredevil, I'm going to go to church. Then I'm going to get to the bottom of this crime outbreak. As he takes the suit from Melvin, we see him exit the garage and run away. Cut to later that night at the docks as we see multiple ninjas walking around the entrance of the storage facility. As they walk around, we suddenly watch as Daredevil, dressed in his red costume, drops down and all the guards surround him. One of the guards asks, Who are you? Daredevil smiles and says, I might look different, but there's no mistaking it. I'm Daredevil. Now, get out of my city. As we watch Daredevil fight the ninjas, we can see he is still a bit rusty, but he manages to defeat all of them. As we see the ninjas lying on the ground defeated, 20 more run out and surround Daredevil, who senses their heartbeats. They're calm, meaning they've been sent out to bring him back to their leader, not hurt him. He follows the ninjas inside the building as one of them says, She will see you now. As the guards move from around Daredevil, we see a woman sitting in a chair at the very center of the room. Lady Elektra, we have captured the masked assailant as per your request. Perfect, says the lady, who is revealed to be Elektra, played by Elodie Young. I must say, you might have changed your costume, but you are the legendary devil of Hell's Kitchen. I'm Elektra, the leader of the Hell's Kitchen Order of the Hand. Daredevil interrupts her. Elektra, I mean you are the Hand no harm. I actually want to talk with you about what's been going on recently. Elektra explains that the Hand is a ninja order with multiple factions across the world. They act on the command of a demon, and the order believes that the demon is all-knowing. They're not mindless killers, but rather they kill whoever the demon believes has been corrupted. Daredevil speaks up. Listen, while I understand your people believe what you are doing is righteous, while I might disagree with your methods, I'm not here to talk about that today. The Punisher, Frank Castle. What's your beef with him? Elektra scoffs. Simple. He's been killing our soldiers for fun. Every time he attacks, we counter. Sure, some of it has led to collateral damage, but nothing major. Suddenly we hear the doors of the storage facility open, and we see Jessica Jones run in and start fighting the ninjas. Jessica, stop! Screams Daredevil. As he screams this, he hears a gunfire and a bullet headed towards himself. Everyone down! Screams Daredevil. As he dodges the bullet, it hits a ninja standing nearby. As Daredevil drops to the floor, he detects a heartbeat outside. It's the person who shot the gun. He notices that the heartbeat is different than the Punisher's. He also sniffs the air and realizes that the gun used was different than any weaponry used by the Punisher the day before. As the ninjas gather around their fellow ninja who was hit by the gunfire, Elektra screams, Devil, you and your friend will leave at once. I will call this a professional courtesy. Next time, we will kill you for getting in our way. Elektra, wait, says Daredevil. I don't think Punisher was the one who shot you. Out now, screams Elektra as Jessica and Daredevil walk outside the building. Jessica asks Daredevil if he needs to be rebandaged. We cut back to Joan's apartment. The outside of the door reads, Alias Investigations. The apartment is relatively small, and we hear her inside bandaging Daredevil's shoulder. First, you're working with our law firm, and now you are accompanying me around on my missions. When will it end? Jones laughs. Well, Mr. Daredevil, you're not exactly unpredictable. As soon as we told you about the Hand's base of operation, we knew you would go seek them out. I wanted to make sure you didn't get killed. However, I've been wondering, why did you tell Elektra you didn't think Punisher was the one who shot the ninja? Matt chuckles. Just because you show up everywhere I am doesn't mean I have to disclose everything to you. Jessica sits down next to Matt. Look, Matt, I started working for Nelson and Murdoch a week after everyone disappeared. Foggy talked about you every day while you were gone. He told me about your father, about how you grew up an orphan, how I took you out to warm up to people because of what happened. Trust me. You know how I got my powers? When I was a kid, a chemical truck blindsided my parents and my brother. It killed them in a car accident. It put me in a coma. Chemicals contained in the truck gave me these powers. So I get it. You aren't the only one with the burden of living with the pain of loss every day. We both want the same thing, a better place, with less jerks who think they are above the law. Matt pauses. The heartbeat. The gun he used. It's not the same as Punisher's. Jessica smiles a bit. Well, I know about your little accident from Foggy, so somehow it doesn't surprise me that you're able to pick that up. I'm not in total disbelief. But I'll tell you what. Luke might know someone in Harlem who might have some information on where the Punisher hides out. I'll see what he can find. Matt says, wait. If you and Luke had the ability to catch the Punisher already by getting this information, why haven't you? Well, says Jessica, Punisher deep down is like us. He wants what's best for this place. Just because we disagree with his methods doesn't mean we should try to stop him. Matt scoffs. Yeah, he's a murderer. Jess helps Matt up and says, well, Mr. Murdoch, everyone has their reasons. I know you made a name for yourself using to kill people, but people have changed. As Matt walks out the door, he pauses and says, well, I can assure you, Jessica, I haven't changed, and neither has Daredevil. We cut back to the mayor's office. As we watch Wesley walk in with a silver dish, he places it in front of Mayor Kingpin and says, Mayor Fisk, here's your favorite, zuppa inglese. Thank you, Wesley, says Fisk as he begins to eat. Suddenly, a shorter man with blonde hair walks in, and Fisk puts down his spoon and says, Mr. Poindexter, how was your mission? We see the camera pan to the man who's revealed to be Benjamin Poindexter, played by Wilson Benthel. Well, sir, I killed one of the Hand, but the devil appears to have a new costume. Fisk glares. Poindexter, I know that your employer spoke highly of you when he allowed me to take oversight of your skills, but this devil has been a pain in my side long before you came to work with me. I need this resolved. The city council is set to vote on whether or not they will renew my mandatory curfew ordinance. If the devil is back and the public feels that their hero has returned to Hell's Kitchen, this might impact our operations. Madame Gao is already saddened by the loss of Mr. Lee years ago. I can't imagine if her drug operation was further interfered with. I hold Madame Gao in high regard, so I would be displeased. Poindexter nods and says, well, sir, you know from my baseball records, I know how to hit a target. It will be done. Fisk chuckles. Very good, Poindexter. Tell your employer I'm very pleased with how this partnership is working out. We cut the next day to Luke Cage walking up to an orphanage as he's on the phone with Jessica in downtown Hell's Kitchen. The name of the building reads the Lyndhurst Home. We hear Jessica talking to him saying, was the intel good? Cage responds, well, Misty was hesitant, but she owes me one after I stopped Diamondback. Jones sighs. Are you trying to make me jealous, Luke? Luke laughs. No, babe, but I have to go. Apparently Punisher works at this orphanage as a security officer. As we see Cage hang up the phone, he walks in. He goes to the lady at the front desk and tells her that he is a former security detail for a club downtown, but due to the recent ordinances, he's been let go. So here's wondering if he could speak with Frank Castle, the head security guard, about working alongside him. Woman tells him that Frank's office is right down the hallway, We see Luke walk in the hall and enter a small room that looks similar to a closet. Inside, we see Frank Castle leaning back in his chair watching a monitor. His desk has a picture of his family and a coffee cup sitting on his desk. Frank turns around and rolls his eyes. "What are you doing here?" Luke grabs Frank by the collar and holds him up. "I'm going to ask you this one time. Why did you shoot a member of the Hand last night?" "What are you talking about, dude? I took the night off last night." Luke slams Frank in his chair as Frank laughs. "Wow, you pack quite a punch, Luke. But sadly, I'm not the one that killed that ninja. Even though I would have loved to." Luke looks at the photograph of Castle's family and asks about them. Frank explains that he was a Marine who served his country valiantly. When he returned home, he took his wife Lisa and his son Frank Jr. to the park one day, and while there, they witnessed a mob standoff which resulted in both Lisa and Frank Jr. losing their lives. Frank explains that since that day, he has dedicated his life to punishing those who would do harm to others, especially children. Part of the reason he took a job at Lyndhurst is because he wants to protect children who don't have parents to protect them. He feels that it is his way to remember Frank Jr. Luke says, "Sorry for your loss, Frank. But why the Hand? How did they get wrapped up in this?" "Well," responds Frank, "they've been killing members of the Lyndhurst staff for no reason. Sometimes they're the reason the kids end up in this place. So I like to give them what they have coming. Oh, and it's a nice payday as well." "Payday?" asks Luke. "Yep," responds Castle. "Some deep pockets dude named Owlsley with the mayor. Says that he wants me to stop the Hand from hurting people, and I'm happy to oblige." Castle leans back in his chair. "Now, if you excuse me, I have work to do." Luke exits, shocked, and calls Jessica. We cut to Matt in his law office. He's listening to a radio report covering a memorial ceremony for both Ant-Man and Black Widow. Jessica walks in and says, "Wow, translating this stuff into Braille took forever, but Luke got the good stuff." Matt turns down the radio and asks, "What did Luke find out?" Jessica explains that Frank Castle was a former Marine, and that he was correct that Punisher was not the one who killed the ninjas last night, and that Castle believes that Hand is responsible for killing workers at the orphanage he works at. Matt responds, "Jess, trust me, it's not true. Jessica said that Hand serves some demon, but they don't kill for fun. She wasn't lying when she said that." "Well," says Jessica, "that isn't the only thing. Apparently the finance commissioner, Leland Owlsley, has been funding Frank to hunt the Hand. Found some information on him." Matt reads over the Braille and says, "Well, Jessica, you're a very good PI. Looks like we'll be paying Mr. Owlsley a visit tonight." We cut to that evening as we see Owlsley driving home from meeting with the mayor. Suddenly, Owlsley hears something jump on his roof. As his car screeches to a halt, he grabs his gun and gets out to investigate. As he does, Daredevil grabs him and demands he tells him everything he knows about the Hand and the Punisher. Leland refuses to talk when suddenly a ninja drops down from the trees nearby and says, "Devil of Hell's Kitchen, you need to leave this one to me. The Hand has sent me to kill him. This hour will be his last." Daredevil watches as the ninja runs towards him when suddenly the ninja is shot and a man wearing all black drops down from a nearby store roof and says, "Devil, it's time for you to meet your maker." "Poindexter," says Owlsley, as suddenly the man in black begins firing rapidly at Daredevil and Owlsley. Daredevil is able to dodge most of the fire, but both he and Owlsley get hit. As they do, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage drive up and scream for Matt, who is bleeding out in his arm. We watch suddenly as Elektra and other members of the Hand appear from behind the trees and gather around the injured ninja. Elektra walks over to the four and says to them, "See, I told you, the Punisher is evil." "It's not the Punisher," Daredevil manages to get out. "It's some dude named Poindexter." Here police cars begin arriving as Luke tells Jessica to get Matt to safety. He will take care of everything from here. We watch as Jessica carries Matt away and members of the Hand disappear. As the officers arrive, they begin asking Luke about what happened. One officer cuts to the front of the others and says, "How did I know somehow you would be involved in this?" Luke sighs. "Misty, I'll tell you everything you want to know." As the officer is revealed to be Officer Misty Knight, played by Simone Missick. We cut to various scenes showing Jessica fixing up Matt's arm, Luke sitting with Officer Knight, the Hand mourning the loss of their member, And finally, he watches a dagger with a note is thrown through the window of Lyndhurst Orphanage. As Castle goes to investigate, he opens up the note, which reads, "You have taken one of ours for the last time. We are declaring war on the Punisher. We settle this once and for all tomorrow at the docks." We cut to Matt Murdock walking downtown the next day. His arm is bandaged and his face is scratched. As we watch him walk into the district attorney's office, we hear a television inside playing a press conference from earlier. As Matt listens in, we hear Mayor Fisk say, "Last night, my finance commissioner was brutally attacked by an unknown assailant. This is proof that while our loved ones have returned from being gone all this time, city is still not safe to be reopened completely yet. That is why I've instructed the city council to move forward with the vote on renewing my curfew ordinance tomorrow morning. I love this city, and as mayor, I will do everything in my power to protect it." Matt clenches his fist and continues walking. When he reaches the DA's office, he walks in and says, "Mr. Tower, are you here? It's been a while." We see the DA turn around and is revealed to be Blake Tower, played by Steven Ryder, who says, "Mr. Murdock, it's been a while. Is Foggy still up to his old crap?" Matt laughs. "As always. Well, Mr. Tower, I was actually wondering if you could give me files on anyone with the last name Poindexter on file. I have a client who's filing a suit, and someone involved has the last name Poindexter, but a lot of information is kept private, and we don't know more than that." Tower chuckles. "Well, Matt, you know I don't like just giving stuff out, but you haven't bothered me in 3 years now, so what the heck." We watch Tower find files for citizens with the last name Poindexter, hands them to Matt, and Matt thanks him. As he walks out, we see him dial a number and says, "Jess, meet me in my apartment. Bring Luke." We cut to Matt, Luke, and Jessica inside Matt's apartment. Jessica and Luke are reading through the documents as Matt grabs them a drink. Suddenly, Jessica stands up and says, "I found something. Benjamin Poindexter, orphan, baseball star, Army soldier, FBI agent, and current special detail to Mayor Fisk. He received awards during his time in the service for his accuracy and heroism." Matt stops and thinks. "So he works for Fisk. That's certain. But why then would he be going after me?" Luke takes the document from Jessica and says, "Wait, he also used to live at the Lyndhurst Orphanage. So that connects those two. Do you think this has something to do with the vote being pushed up?" Matt stops and says, "That's it. When Spider-Man and I stopped Lee's operation, Fisk was behind a drug and arms smuggling operation. The curfew and lack of heroes to stop him must have led to this idea to create a mandatory curfew. You two are not onto the scheme, so he was able to avoid people like you finding out about what he was doing. But now that I'm back, he's worried that I might get in the way of his trade. So he sent Poindexter to kill me. But instead, he injured Owlsley, which he was able to use to put political pressure on the council. Jess, Luke, Fisk has been paying the Punisher to attack the Hand, while the Hand has had nothing to do with this. And the Hand believes Punisher is behind all the attacks, while it's really been Poindexter. It's been Poindexter all along. All the crime, all the fear, it's artificial. We have to tell Elektra." "Hold on," says Jones. "You're not doing this alone. We are a team." Luke stands up. "Yeah, Jess is right. We all care about this city. You aren't going to do this thing alone." Matt sighs and says, "Fine. This once. We head to visit the Hand tonight." That evening, we see a huge showdown at the docks, with Punisher facing off against Elektra and members of the Hand. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage arrive and attempt to tell Elektra about who has really been behind the killings this entire time. Watches the three fight against the Hand ninjas and the Punisher as a massive brawl breaks out. Suddenly, Daredevil hears gunshots as ninjas start dropping to the ground, and eventually, Punisher is shot and drops to the ground. Daredevil senses Poindexter's heartbeat and tells Jessica and Luke to help those who have been injured. He is going to stop Poindexter. He then watches Daredevil faces off against Poindexter, who calls himself Bullseye, in a hand-to-hand battle. Both are evenly matched, but Daredevil eventually gets the upper hand. As we see that both men are bloodied, Daredevil eventually rips off Poindexter's mask and screams at him, "Why are you doing this? Why the carnage?" Poindexter smirks. "Listen, if you think Fisk is bad, you have no idea who I work for." Poindexter kicks Daredevil off of him, picks up his mask, and jumps down into an alley next to the building. Daredevil follows him, but when he lands, he comes face to face with Mayor Fisk. "Mayor Fisk, Breaking your own curfew, I see, says Daredevil. Fisk laughs. Devil of Hell's Kitchen. We finally come face to face. Well, on most other occasions, I would have you killed. I think that I will kill your spirit first. I continue to win. This city is mine. And I cannot be stopped. You might symbolize what this city views as a hero, but I am this city. I'll continue my operations, which, to your credit, you have greatly slowed. But if you attempt to interfere again, trust me, I will handle you myself. As we watch Fisk hop into a limo, we see that Wesley and Poindexter are inside. Daredevil speaks up. By the way, it's Daredevil. Don't forget it. And eventually, Fisk, I'll come for you, and you'll be done. Fisk chuckles as he gets in the car and it drives away. Watch as Jessica and Luke find Daredevil in the alley as Jess screams, Matt, are you okay? Matt chuckles and says, well, I think Elektra knows the truth now. I have a good idea that the public will know about what happened here tonight, but for now, I'm bleeding in multiple places, so how about we head out? We watch as Officer Misty Knight arrests multiple members of the Hand, and we see Castle get put into an ambulance and driven away. Cut to the next day, and we see Matt listening to a radio in his kitchen, which reports that the Punisher, otherwise known as Frank Castle, survived the Battle of the Docks yesterday, and following a full recovery, he'll be brought to the raft. The report also states that the scuffle could have spread out to the entire city had not been for the Guardian of Hell's Kitchen, Daredevil, who intervened to save the city. Matt smiles as we cut to City Hall, where we watch the City Council vote to end Mayor Fisk's mandatory curfew, saying that danger or not, people have a right to go out with their family and friends, and should anything happen, the heroes of New York will be there to protect them. Fisk clenches his jaw and slams his fist down as we cut to a few days later, with Matt Murdock sitting in a pew at Clinton Church. As we see him praying, we hear a familiar voice say, sorry, is this spot taken? Camera pans up to reveal Peter Parker, played by Tom Holland, who begins tearing up as Matt stands up and hugs him. Peter explains that he has been having a hard time dealing with the death of Tony, that he should have answered Matt's calls and apologizes for blowing him off. Matt places his arms around the crying Peter and explains, listen, I understand you've suffered more loss than any one kid, let alone any one person, should have to deal with. But I'm going to be here for you, Peter. Not only because I need you, New York needs you. And more importantly, they're going to need Daredevil and Spider-Man soon. As Peter nods, the movie ends. We only have one post-credit scene where we see Murakami, played by Yutaka Takuchi, scolding Elektra for allowing tons of Hand ninjas to be killed in a petty feud with a gun-wielding maniac. Based on this, he removes Elektra from the organization and banishes her from ever working with Hand again. As Elektra leaves, one of the ninjas asks her, Lady Elektra, what are you going to do now? Elektra smiles. Well, that devil does intrigue me. Perhaps I'll go find out a bit more about him. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of Rebooted MCU Phase 3, the end of Saga 1, the Infinity Saga. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support you guys have given me throughout this series. And I'm really excited for the next saga. It's something completely new. It's not the multiverse saga. And I'm going to start probably focusing on some other projects for a little bit here. But once summer really picks up, I will release an announcement video for what you can expect for the upcoming phases. And the first episode should be coming out soon-ish. Anyways, thanks again so much for the support. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And I look forward to seeing you all in the start of Phase 4, Part 1.